Welcome back to post-Mormon Peace. Thanks for being with us. I'm really excited for the episode that we have planned today because I've got a really special guest who's also very excited to be here. My daughter, Ashlyn. And Ashlyn's the oldest. I really thought and wanted to do this episode because I feel like this is something that a lot of people that I've talked to, a big challenge. Obviously, spouses, like if spouses are on different pages, that can be tough to navigate. But then even if the spouses are on the same page, it still can be difficult to navigate the decision with having kids and knowing like what's the right decision. How do we weigh this out? So today, I'm going to be interviewing my daughter and kind of getting her thoughts and feedback. Like, what was it like for her to experience this, to go through this in hindsight now? So we'll kind of get into it. So Ash, do you want to just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into some of the questions.
Yeah, my name's Ashlyn. I'm 14. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and it's probably like the church has impacted my life a lot, and like leaving the church has also impacted it, and like the way I see and like my perspective and stuff. So I'm excited for this. This is gonna be cool.
Yeah. For those listening, Ashlyn is someone that I'm very impressed with. Her ability to reflect and to think and to kind of get outside of her own head. There are times when she doesn't shy away from conversations. If she feels uncomfortable with someone or a relationship or some kind of interaction, like she will go and she will talk to that person. She doesn't shy away from it. So I think she'll have some good insights by just being herself today. So Ash, why don't you start out and just talk about what was it like growing up in the church? Like, what did the church mean to you? What are some of your earliest memories of going to church?
Yeah, so like I think I don't really have like a distinct like church was always just part of my life. Like it was just like we always went to church every Sunday. Like it was just a regular thing. It was just like nothing. Like if we didn't go to church, it was like a big deal. Like just because we always went. And like I was very like I loved the church. Like it was a really big deal to me. Like I like about the time before we left the church, like I was trying to memorize the articles of faith. I did activity days, would try and talk myself into doing bearing my testimony like every other month or whatever. And then like even like with family night, I tried to like I've always like loved teaching, and like family night was a cool night where I could like try and teach my other siblings like what I was learning. And yeah, like it was just always part of it. Like yeah, looking back now, like I don't have any like it was all pretty much really good memories of the church, like growing up in it.
Yeah. So talk about like, what do you remember about church itself? Like when you think about sacrament meeting or primary, what are the things that you remember doing, and what did it feel like?
Like one thing I loved about the church is I loved the community. I loved like spending some time with other kids, and then like our babysitters went to church to like just to say hi after sacrament meeting every Sunday. Was like really fun because they were just like almost like older sisters to me. And yeah, it was just like really fun. And I feel like what is it called, like the the like almost like primary. Is it primary?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. But but like even like I loved like the people who taught me and like the lessons, they just made it really fun and really it was something I looked forward to every Sunday.
Yeah. So do you remember like when you were learning the different lessons, did you look at it and just kind of enjoy it from the experience, or when you listened were you like, oh, this is so powerful and this is how I should live my life? Like what did the principles of the church mean to you? Was it just something that you went and did on Sunday, or was it something that you thought about throughout the week?
Yeah, I think I thought about it about the church quite a bit. But like it's interesting because it almost felt like rules I needed to follow, but like it wasn't like, I mean, that sounds like really boring and but it was like really, really fun for me. Like, uh, memorizing things uh, and like I didn't really, ever think what I believed in. It was always like, this is how we do things in the church and like, this is how it is. And like trying to memorize Bible stories and like stuff like that. And like it almost felt like a fun game that I had to play.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that lines up with kind of what I felt. I kind of viewed you as you're kind of a rule follower. You kind of enjoyed, like, this is what the church says, and so this is how we do things. Like, it was kind of, yeah, it was kind of like a rule book for you, and it was kind of like, okay, this is good. This is something that tells me how to live, or what's right and wrong, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm like the person that like will like study a ton until I get like an A on my test, and like I'm a very like careful and like I don't know, just yeah, just like a rule follower.
Yeah. Was there anything that you ever didn't like about church, or anything that was confusing?
Um Honestly, I didn't really think much about like I said, like I didn't think like what do I believe in? Like is this even true? Like I didn't even think of that. And until like we talked about it as a family, like I just didn't think about it at all. Like it was just like this is how the way things are.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Um, so, are there any stories or teachings that like kind of stuck out to you?
Um Not really that I can think of right now, but like for our family when we would do family night, it was more like I kind of wanted it to be like the church, like almost like this is a story, this is how it went, like these are things to memorize, like kind of like how I viewed it, but like what my dad kind of like turned it into be like the last few years of the church is like here's a story, here are the principles, like do you agree with these, like kind of like more um like for like learning how to apply those to your life, not like this is just a story that you need to memorize.
Yeah, yeah. I was. I think maybe it was partially because I felt like I had a different opinion on things, that I always wanted you guys to feel like you could have your own opinion, that I can share something, I can teach something, but you guys can think through it, and you can have a different opinion on something. And so I loved asking, I don't know, kind of controversial questions. And even when I taught Sunday school, I enjoyed doing that. Like, tell a story and then say, oh, it kind of seems like this is what he's saying. Do you guys agree with this? Or, could it be this? I feel like those are questions that you can ask that gets conversation going. And I really enjoy hearing different sides and perspectives and different things. So maybe before we kind of talk about leaving the church, did you talk about being a rule follower and stuff? Did you ever feel pressure to like that you needed to match up or you needed to follow rules? Did you feel pressure, or did you feel more like, no, I like this. I like the way that it's set up. Or even if there was pressure, did you like the pressure? Like, okay, this gives me something to push myself for.
Kind of like yes and no. I mean, like, I think it didn't, I bet some of it came from the church, but I think a lot of it came from me putting pressure on myself from being the oldest. Like, I have to be an example. Like, if I do this, then hopefully the others will do this. And like, my mom has even talked to me and said like, like if I have a bad day or if I do something that's not exactly nice, like the my younger siblings will start doing the same thing even if they don't really realize it. And so I felt like after I kind of learned like they'll kind of follow me a little bit, then it was more like, oh, I got to be an example. I got to be like this perfect figure like for them and for myself, like but not necessarily from the church.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So do you still feel that pressure now, being the oldest child and like feeling like you have to set a standard or, perform at a certain level for everybody else to follow?
I mean, a little bit. I think a little bit will always kind of be, but definitely not as much as a few years ago. Like I felt like I don't know. I feel like I've changed my mindset where it's more of a growth mindset. I feel like I've always had a pretty good mindset, but like now it's a little bit different where it's like you don't have to be perfect, but maybe if you just try and focus on yourself and you just try and be better, then like they'll just see that you're just trying and they'll just try. Like don't focus on all the little things or all the other things that might or might not impact them. Just like kind of focus on yourself.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, even as you share it, like it makes me get emotional because I feel like that's a lesson that I'm trying to live more and more. And even in the last 2 to 3 years, that's something that I'm like finally learning. So it's amazing to hear you share that. And it's cool from my perspective too, to see that you actually do live that. I remember, times in the past, you'd be really hard on yourself and get, feel so bad about, something, a lot of times it was, a way that you treated a sibling. And, you'd feel so bad and you'd be crying and so upset. And now I think you still feel bad, but you don't harp on yourself. You don't like just allow yourself to just feel so bad. You are quicker to take action and to see how do I just improve? How do I fix this, or how do I keep working on things? Thank you.
And I feel like sometimes like I need to let myself feel bad. Like even if it's just for like 5 minutes, I need to like just like have a cry. Like and then like but sometimes if I don't and I know I want to, it's like I don't know, it's a little bit different where like yes, I'll do it, but it's kind of weird why I almost feel like sometimes it's kind of necessary to feel bad about myself, but definitely not as much as back then.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about what do you remember about the time? Okay, so when me and mom were kind of going through this time period and trying to decide, like, okay, what do we actually believe? What do we want to do? And stuff like that. were you aware of any of that? Like, when's the first time that you kind of were aware of our that our thoughts were along the lines of, okay, do we really want to be part of the church anymore?
Well, honestly, I didn't really think of anything until you guys like flat out said it, and brought the conversation up. But no, I didn't. Like, there were some things that like were kind of weird. Like, I remember my mom. She was reading a book at the time about like a near death experience or something, and uh, she was kind of crying, and she said like it's okay to question things that you believe in. And I felt like, oh, like that's just kind of weird. Like, I don't know why she's saying that. Like, I didn't think of anything of it. And then like sometimes like my dad just like for family night, like you would like kind of get emotional of stuff that I didn't think was, something to get emotional about. So that was kind of weird, but like I didn't really think anything of it until until you guys brought it up.
Okay, so tell me what you remember from the day that me and Mom kind of had the big talk with everyone. What do you remember? Where was it? What was said? What did you think about it? That kind of stuff.
Well, like that morning or the week before, we went to like it was called Grow Camp. Like, we just did a bunch of activities at a different church, and like I had a ton of fun, and they were going to sing a song at their church. So we went to their church. Yeah, on a Sunday. And we came back, and they kind of like, I don't remember it. Like, it's not super clear. Like they were just like, the way I remember it was like we don't really know what we believe in, like if the church is right. And like I just remember being like very, very shocked, like almost like kind of thought this was a joke, like almost like I just didn't believe it for a second. Like, it was just so out of the ordinary. Like, I never even thought about something like you were just bringing up. It was like I just didn't ever think of it, that it wouldn't be true.
Yeah. So what did it feel like? Like, did it feel like, okay, so it was a shock? What was it like, that day or the next few days? Was there like a time period when you're like, kind of like the shock was over, and then you're like, okay, what is it like now? Like, what was it like over the next week or so, or stuff like that?
I think it was a lot of confusion, because obviously there's no way to really like prove that something is true or something isn't. So it's like you using your gut feeling and like being raised like one way your entire life, and not even like um like even contradicting it. Like it was just a lot of confusion. There was a lot of kind of like almost sadness, and I don't really know why. Like, even now, like I don't know why I was feeling sad about it. Just like there was so much unknown. Like, I didn't know how this was going to go, or like, yeah, it was just like I did not know anything. But there was also like a time where I was angry. But like I feel like most people are angry at the church, but I wasn't angry at the church. I was angry at you and Mom. I was angry that because I found out that you guys have been like debating on what to do and like kind of questioning it for like over a year. And that's what like made me angry, is like I felt like I felt like I was really close with you and Mom at the time. And like I felt like I told you everything, and I felt like you, like, even like if something went wrong at work or like just something little, like you would tell me. And so it was like I was just angry and sad that that was like a really big secret that you kept for like a year. But now, like, looking back, like, I like being the parent, like, that's probably the smartest decision. Like, just like not having it be, just like an impulsive decision, like thinking about it, but that still hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard because we were thinking, okay, do we start just being open with the kids? And that was really hard for me because I really, really feel better in life when I can be open. Any relationship that I really value, I'm going to want to be very honest, even if it means having hard conversations. But it was really hard because we thought, okay, if we tell the kids and we're open and we talk through this, what's that experience gonna be like for them? Because we didn't know if we were gonna stay or if we were gonna go or what was gonna happen. So if we talk about these things and we share all of our concerns and questions, and then we decide to stay, what's that gonna do to your experience in church? Like, are we just kind of messing you up where now, you enjoyed your church experience. And now, because we're talking about all our doubts, now when you go to church, you're thinking, oh, well, I don't know if this is right or wrong. So it was really hard. And I felt like the best compromise, the best thing that I could do was to try and share doubts in a more ambiguous way, like a less clear way, where during family home evening or something, like I'd just say, sometimes I have questions. And a lot of times I'm not really sure about some other things, but I know that when I am working hard or when I'm honest or when I'm trying to show love, that's when I feel best. Right. And that's kind of like that changed. I remember, the first time when that really changed for me was when we lived in Nebraska. When so what, that would have been 2013, 2014, 15. When I would share my testimony, it wouldn't be anything about, like, I would never say, I know the church is true and I know that so-and-so is a prophet. It was always, I am grateful for my family. I'm grateful for an opportunity to serve. I know that when I do this in my life, that's when I'm happiest, and I'm grateful for those things. So that was kind of my compromise, where I didn't feel like I was telling a lie. I wasn't being untruthful, but I wasn't directly sharing everything. And for a long time, I didn't really share my doubts and concerns with mom either, because uh, she didn't really care or really want to. And I don't think that it was rude, but it was just like for her, it was like more kind of black and white for a long time. Like, no, this is right. This is what we do. This is our life.
Yeah, and even when you're talking about like those principles, like I feel like that's one thing that really switched when we left the church um is like it wasn't like rules anymore. It was more like, how do you be more kind? How you should be honest. Like stuff that the church did teach, but I felt like I was too caught up in other things like scriptures and articles of faith and all those things. I didn't really know what they meant until kind of when we left, when instead of doing like going to church and stuff, you taught us like more principles and like more rules that way, where it wasn't like, this is exactly what you have to do,
Yeah. Yeah. We started just having more open conversation. We still kind of had kind of like family home evening and scripture study, but we were reading the Daily Stoic. So we talk about the principles and how does this apply to you? And, even in the evening, hey, did anybody get a chance to, practice this, or did you think about this during the day? So Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to comment earlier when you said that there was feelings of like kind of sadness. It sounds like almost betrayal. You kind of felt betrayed by me and mom a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think it makes total sense. I think it's tough, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I think what the sadness and confusion and stuff like that is, like, a lot of it starting out was you had something that you were so sure on. You never questioned it. And then all of a sudden, we kind of turned your world upside down and told you, well, we are questioning everything, and we don't believe anything really anymore. So it was like you went from something that was kind of black and white to now, hey, this is all gray and different shades of gray, different shades of colors. And so it was like you went from a world that was made sense to then something that was kind of confusing.
Yeah, and for me it felt like very, very quick, but also like really slow at the exact same time. Like looking back, it's like we probably only went to one Sunday. Like the first Sunday like that they let after COVID, we probably went to only one Sunday, and that was probably the hardest Sunday ever. Like just like after, I don't know, after we kind of like were introduced to, I don't know, different questioning thoughts. But yeah, it felt very slow, just because like I feel like whenever you're emotional, I feel like time kind of stops. But it also went really fast because like like we left really quick, because like to me it's like, oh, like you don't think this is true, I never want to go again. I felt like I wanted to be almost like not, I wasn't angry at the church or anything, but I was against it because like I had no idea, like, oh, maybe this isn't true. So like probably 2 weeks or less after we left, I got ears piercings, like second ears piercings, and like that was a really big deal. After that, and like trying coffee for the first time, like just like being very against the church, but very emotional at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel like it would have made a difference if we had done that now? Like, you're 14 and we had kept going to church and everything, and now we come to you. I think what I'm trying to think of is, parents that are listening have kids at different age ranges. So you were 10 years old, and I think you were probably like had a high church IQ. Like, you understood things. You were probably more committed to the church than most 10-year-olds. But so I'm, for parents that have kids that are teenagers, or that are much more kind of tied to the church, sometimes it can be more challenging. Sometimes the teenager may feel like, no, you're wrong. No, like, this is what the church has been telling me, is that if you leave, then that means you lost your testimony and you've been led astray and all these kinds of things. So I know it might be tough to kind of think through that in your head, but if we had stayed very active and stuff, and then we came to you when you're 14 years old, can you kind of think how that would have been different?
Yeah, I think I think now I would probably have had like it's weird to say, but like more of a life in the church, like probably more friends in the church, more, because like in our ward there wasn't a lot of kids, but more friends in the church, like more invested almost. And I mean, I felt like I was really invested, but yeah, but I think now either like with the church, like if we were still in the church in that scenario, or like anything that I believed and you didn't, I feel like I would really want you to tell me, even if I like didn't believe the same thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know, even just be introduced like to like even, I don't know, like it feel like it's not a secret
Yeah.
almost. And like, I don't know, that we can just be honest with each other, even if I am like really angry at you or like confused. Like, I think I would still want you to be honest about it.
Yeah. I think you are pretty similar to me, where you don't really shy away from tough conversations. You appreciate honesty even when it's challenging and difficult. Okay, so let's talk about, so that's kind of like what it was like going through it. What has it felt like since then? How has our family culture changed? Has it changed at all? What things, are there things that you missed or things that you were glad that weren't part of our life anymore? Is there anything that you would say about our life since, basically like our life now without being active in church?
Like, I would say like I'm a lot closer to probably everyone in our family, but I don't necessarily think that's because of the church. I feel like maybe like how I was talking about earlier, like my perspective of just trying to grow instead of like memorize things and like rules and stuff. So that might have something to do with it. But like, I feel like just growing in general has made me closer to you guys. And yeah, I feel like just growing on my own and as a family, like I don't necessarily know how much it is the church has affected that. Like if it would kind of be like the same way if we still did go to church or not. But I feel like maybe we'll talk about this, but like a lot of your and mom's parenting is very different, which also like I feel like you've always, especially you, have always like pushed, like if you get in an argument, you're going to talk about it. Like always kind of push tough conversations and like principles. But I feel like that was very like a more big deal after we left the church. Like it was just more like almost like more time to focus on that instead of like focusing on other stuff. It's like our attention drew to principles and relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would like to do another episode where we kind of talk a little bit about that. What about your view of religion or God? Like you said that you kind of went to church, but you never really questioned, like, do I believe this? You were just kind of like, okay, this is what this is. So how has that changed over the last couple years? Like, what are, you can be as open or closed as you want as far as your beliefs then versus your beliefs now when it comes to spirituality and religion and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like now it's kind of like I don't really have a religion. Like I don't really believe in God. I don't really believe I think there's a possibility that something's out there or that we live after we die, but like I feel like I don't know how much that will affect me if I focus on that. And I feel like my thoughts on that has been affected a lot by you, like sharing your perspective and being like, because about a year ago, I kind of went through, like, it was all fine. Like, I didn't really think of religion anymore. And then it was like I was kind of sad a lot of the time. And that, I don't think that was part of the church. And then I started thinking about the church and like, oh, is there a God? Like, is there all these things that I once did believe in? Like, so, but now I don't really necessarily believe in anything. It's more like, like I've been saying, like more focusing on how can I do to improve now almost.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're saying you don't think a ton about whether or not there is a God, or um, there is some kind of like spiritual realm or something else, because you feel like either way you're going to just kind of focus on how can you just continue to improve yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I was thinking of. Talk about what about just share a little bit about your perspective. So we've now been in Utah for about 2 months. So what's it been like with the social side of things? Like, how much has the church played a role in conversations that you've had with friends, or like just the social life? I mean, because we live in South Utah County, where there's relatively high activity as far as members of the church. Like, are most of your friends members? And what has it been like? Do you talk about it much? Do you talk about like, oh, well, what do you believe? Like, is there that kind of conversation? Just kind of give your perspective on what it's been like so far.
Yeah. I think most, if not all of my friends, I think all of my friends are in the church, but like we don't really talk about it, but it's not like a void or anything. It's just like we're just friends like you would have anywhere else. But it's also like I don't know how many siblings some of my friends have. Like I don't know what their parents do for a living. Like it's just like some friends you talk about stuff like that, and then some friends you're just like it's just fun. Like you're just playing around, like you don't really talk about stuff like that. Whether it's like, the church or what their parents do or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So your relationships so far with friends are a little bit more casual,
Yeah.
but that is interesting too. I mean, I think you have shared some friends, like are more or less interested in like the church and activities, or even, I mean, like the next few years, missions are going to be coming up. So I would guess that over time, maybe some of those conversations will happen more. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, but also like there's kind of like just like kind of little questions like, oh, like some of their parents have asked me, oh, like what ward are you in? And like sometimes that's kind of awkward, like saying, oh, we don't go to church, like kind of like sometimes like me being self-conscious. So like if they know I don't go to church, like what will they think of me? Will they think of me like less than they already do? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like not it's almost like something I didn't expect is me feeling self-conscious about it. Like, not a lot of the times, but mostly like with parents. Cause I know like a lot of my friends don't even care like if I'm in the church or not, but like, some of their parents are like really strict in the church. So it's just kind of interesting. Like, I don't know what they think of me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So when you say we don't go to church, what's their response when you share that?
Usually, you just like shut down the conversation. Like even just by saying that, it's like, "Oh, we don't go to church." "Oh, I'm sorry for asking." It's almost kind of like that where it's like, "Oh, like I'm not offended or anything. Like I don't have any hard feelings, but like we just don't go." Like that's almost kind of like a matter of fact way. Like it's not a big deal. Like we just don't go. Like, but you don't really talk about it after you say that. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know like what to say.
So it almost sounds like maybe they're asking kind of just instinctually, like they're just thinking like, oh yeah, what ward are you in? Like
Yeah.
they're just kind of casual. It's not like they're thinking like, oh, I'm going to figure out if she's a member or not. But it's just kind of a way of life, and they're just talking. and then you share that, and then they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean, like, I was just trying to ask a question.
Yeah, you're just trying to like have small talk almost.
Yeah.
Like trying to like kind of get to know you a little bit.
Right.
And it's like, it's just like everyone here is pretty much like in the church. So it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, just an assumption. So looking back, is there anything that you think, oh, if I could go back, I wish this would have happened differently?
Honestly, no. I think everything almost like had to happen. Like I had to feel that way. Like I think it was smart for you and Mom to like kind of keep it to yourself almost before telling us and everyone else, like just to make a smart decision. Like I think everything kind of had to happen. I had to feel all those feelings. Like it's almost like kind of inevitable. But maybe like some advice I would give. Like I don't know how much my younger self would really listen to that advice, but probably like it's not the end of the world. Like it's gonna work out with time. Like, because I felt like you have to like be like, oh, I don't believe in the church. Like, what do I do now? Like, even when you make that decision where you're like, oh, I don't think I believe in that anymore, it's like I have to find something now because it's just so uncertain. Like, so now it's just like it's just has to do with time. Like, it'll take time. You're gonna feel all these things, and it will suck. Like, it will be hard, but like, it's just the way things go.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. Do you feel like if you decided to go and be involved in the church, go to activities, or even go to church on Sunday, do you feel like me and Mom would be supportive? And you can just try and answer honestly. Like, obviously you're talking to me, but just share your complete honest thoughts. What would that feel like?
Yeah, I think like for sure. I think even if I wasn't talking to you and I was talking to anyone else, like I think you and Mom would fully support that. I think we would have some tough conversations, like almost like this sounds a little judgmental, but it's like when I think of it, it's not judgmental. It's like, so like what do you believe in? Like, what are your thoughts going to church? Like, how do you feel going to church? Like in a non-judgmental way, like just a very open conversation about it. Like, yeah, but I think you and Mom would fully support me going to church or anyone else.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. I appreciate that. I think we want everybody to feel pretty free. There are principles and certain things that we believe that are important, but beyond that, like, we want everybody to feel pretty free as far as what you believe and where you want to go in life, stuff like that. Okay. Well, as you were kind of preparing and kind of thinking through things, are there any other things that you wanted to talk through or share about your experience or anything?
I don't really think so. I think, like the principles are what matters. Like when you leave the church, like I feel like we have a lot of the same principles that the church teaches. It's just more emphasized in our family. I feel like that is what we focus on. I feel like I'm really glad you were very honest, and I'm glad we left. Like I feel like I love how I see life. I love my perspective of things, but yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming and just being willing to talk. I know it's can be nerve-wracking doing it, but I feel like you did such a great job just being open and sharing your thoughts. So I love you.
Love you.